Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I'll be sharing with you the breakdown of this geometry nodes setup that I created. So it's basically some kind of terrain, super basic terrain, but I can easily modify the terrain using an empty. So currently I'm moving the empty, and it's rendering in cycles some kind of gradient also on top of that. So let's quickly take a look. So this is the empty that I was talking about. I can move this guy and suddenly the terrain change shape. You might notice there's all these weird single vertices flying around when I'm moving the empty. So let's take a look at the breakdowns. It's not that complicated, right? The nodes is just under 10 nodes. I think we need to go backwards. So this guy is affecting the single vertices. Okay, the single vertices is basically an array in X and Y that has been randomized. If I remove the randomizations, it's gonna look excuse me, it's gonna look like that, just like a grid. Okay, but the points is going to move up and down based on the modifier displace texture. Okay, this cloud is affecting the vertices. So that's the first thing. Secondly, why do we have this? That's because we have a grid that's been deformed by those vertices. So that's possible because of this attribute proximity. So based on the distance of the points into the grid, we have this some kind of proximity that I think we can take a look using weight paint. I think we're supposed to be able to see the weight. But anyhow, I started with a grid. I can reduce the number of points, not a problem. I can change the size so you can see. And so attribute proximity is creating vertex weight, and then I am adjusting the weight using attribute map range. Here I'm using the fancy setup, which is a step linear. Originally it's just a linear, so now it's clear what's going on. I can turn on and off the clamping, and then this is like creating vertex weight, and then I invert it using subtract 1 minus group. And then here, this is the color part. It's actually interesting because if you use cycles, you can render this out. It's not visible on EV yet, I don't think, but you can bake this out or send it as a vertex color for EV, and that's possible. And the rest of them is just me kind of pushing the vertices, pushing up, pushing down. It's possible using attribute mixer. The mixer is using factor from the group. Okay, so it's not that complicated, but still some kind of understanding needed. So this one sending the color into shader of this object. So we have, in the end, we have position XYZ, we have group value that we can observe, and then color, that's also based on the color is based on the group. So if we go back and we play around with this, okay, we got the cloud. thing that's affecting it. The cool thing about this is that you can make adjustment, of course. You can randomize the position of the points, and they, even if they're overlapping, even if the points are overlapping, it's okay, because it's just gonna affect the vertex weight and the effect still works. So far my setup is for a grid, it's not for 3D objects, but it's possible to use 3D objects. Just you need to modify the normal instead. Okay, this clamping also matters. This clamping value, it's normalizing the value, but if you clamp it, it's becoming like that. If you remove the clamping, then the effect's gonna be really different. So you have this kind of fantasy looking terrain, sort of. I just simplified it. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting looking. Oh, okay, interesting. The color disappeared as soon as I simplified it. I didn't know that. Oh yeah, that's really interesting. So maybe don't simplify it for now. Alright, so there you go. That's just the whole setup. It's simpler. I think there are other examples out there by Entagma and some other Blender artists. Similar concept. This is just simpler. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.